Welcome into this segment of Behind the Pen presented by mostvaluablepodcast.com. If you want to listen to the full podcast, go to blogtalkradio.com/mostvaluablepodcast. Also, we're on iTunes, so check us out there as well. Thank you all for listening as always, and enjoy the show. But stay tuned. We're going to talk more baseball, moving on into the National League East with the Washington Nationals. And the Nationals are potentially the best team in baseball. Are they? I'm going to go out on a limb and say no, because the Houston Astros are also a part of the Major League Baseball scene, and the Astros are insane. They're off to one of the greatest starts since the Cubs did last year, right? And the best start in franchise history for the Astros. They're on pace to win up over 100 games, which is no surprise given their lineup, and their starting rotation has been solid. Lance McCullers been very good. Keuchel on the DL right now, but Keuchel, of course, is starting to take shape of the Keuchel that we're used to, or starting to come to be used to seeing in that left-handed top of the rotation piece. But we're talking Washington Nationals today because the Nationals are really darn good. And it sucks because, one, I'm a Cub fan, and the Nationals, of course, are going to be a threat to the Cubs if the Cubs do indeed make the playoffs. We don't know if that's going to happen because they've been bad. But right now they have a potential MVP in Ryan Zimmerman, batting .362 with a 1.103 OPS. That's insane. A WAR of up almost 3. He's got 17 home runs. He's almost got 50 RBI. He's been unreal. He's got 18 doubles. Ryan Zimmerman, a total resurgence at the plate this season. It's great to see. He's been a consistent guy for the Nationals who contributes at the plate. Defensively struggled until he moved positions, right? He ended up playing first base. He could not play third base anymore. So Ryan Zimmerman's killing it. And that's great for the Nationals. Daniel Murphy continuing where he left off last season, batting .336 with an almost 1 OPS. Of course, Bryce Harper helps as well. When Bryce Harper is coming off a terrible season in his standards, right? And Bryce Harper's standards last year was miserable. This season, he's absolutely dominating opposing pitchers again, showcasing his power. He's got a 1.068 OPS. He's got 15 home runs. The guy's just a monster, straight up monster. So when you have guys like that, and this lineup is absolutely stacked. A lot of these guys are hitting up over 270, and that includes Trey Turner. Trey Turner, one of the most versatile young players that the game's seen, and I love watching Trey Turner. He's so fun, and the fact that he's able to play shortstop is just such a bonus. He's one of the most valuable players on the team, one of the most valuable positions on the team, and you have a young stud in Turner. A guy like Corey Seager did it too, right? That is something to absolutely be excited about if you're a Nationals fan. Harper, who knows where he's going to go after a couple years when he eventually hits free agency, but you can bank on Trey Turner for a while. That kid's exciting. He's explosive. He does so many things for you. But overall, right, and I didn't even mention he's got 21 stolen bases. Like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? Anyway, this Nationals team is insane. And we talk about the lineup. That could carry you. We also, and I say this all the time here on Behind the Pen, I always talk about the value in your rotation. You're not going to make a playoff run unless you have capable starting pitching. And what's this? The Nationals have it, right? Of course they have it, with Max Scherzer leading the way. Max Scherzer, my favorite pitcher in the game, can ramp it up to 99 when he wants to, but sits 95 consistently, and it's just effortless. I love watching Max Scherzer pitch. He's the man. He's the absolute boss at doing what he needs to, right? What he needs to do as a starter. In 12 starts, he's got 10 quality starts. In 84 and a third innings pitched, he struck out 114. He's walked only 20. That's the fewest amount of walks among active starters for the Nationals. The guy he's just so good. I just can't rave enough about the value in Max Scherzer, and that contract was so worth it. Absolutely worth it. 2.35 ERA for Scherzer. Steven Strasburg, 2.80, and he's healthy. Nationals fans I'm knocking on wood right now for you Nationals fans, but man, you got to be excited about Strasburg as well. Gio Gonzalez and Tanner Roark. Gonzalez having a resurgent season after seeing some struggles here and there. He was very kind of inconsistent, right? Coming back up, and now he's solid again this year in 74 and a third innings pitched. He's got a 1.37 whip. Could be better, 3.03 ERA, but he's striking out 65. He's pitching to contact. He's not doing too much. He's not overpowering. Of course, at this part of his career, he's not going to be the same guy that we've seen early with, the White Sox, of course, and then they traded him twice. But anyway, we're looking at this Nationals rotation. They don't really have a 5-starter. They were kind of hoping Joe Ross could be that guy, but he struggled mightily. He's still striking out guys. He's got nasty stuff. He's not really walking guys, but he's just getting hit really hard. And, as a 5-starter, you can kind of live with Joe Ross every 5th day, but they're throwing out other guys too. So at this point, you're just going to have to live with the kind of in and out of that 5th guy. But overall, if you're talking about a staff to carry you in the postseason, Scherzer, Strasburg, Gonzalez, Rorik. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That's World Series bound right there. That's money. The problem though, and I think you guys know where I'm going with this, is that bullpen. This bullpen needs some help, big time. Going into entering June, the Nationals bullpen had the worst ERA of any team in the National League. They had the highest WHIP of any team in the National League, and they had guys going on the DL. Matt Albers, first of all, shout out Matt Albers. Are you kidding me, Matt Albers? Look at this guy. Matt Albers on the season in 22 appearances. He's been overworked. Let's just talk about that for a second. Signs a minor league deal coming into the 2017 season. He's got 23 innings pitched. He struck out 25. And he's got a 1.17 ERA and a 0.783 WHIP. The guy's been outstanding for the Nationals, but you can't keep relying on Matt Albers, right? And the back end of the bullpen, Coda Glover, he's got limited major league experience. He's got very nasty stuff, right? Very, very outstanding stuff. However, you don't feel good about him. In limited appearances, a total of 41 games in the Major League Baseball career for the 24-year-old. 4.34 ERA this season. Not terrible. He's got 8 saves. However, you want a solidified guy who doesn't make you sweat every time it's a close game in the 9th inning, which means there has to be a move made by the Nationals. Has to be a move made by the Nationals at the deadline to acquire a back-end piece. And there are arms that are going to be available. First of all, going back to the offseason, they tried acquiring Chris Sale. Can you imagine if the Nationals have Chris Sale in that rotation? My mind would be, I don't know, I can't comprehend the damage that they would do in the National League if Sale, Scherzer, Rorik, Gonzalez, oh my gosh, imagine. Anyway, we all know how that played out. And then you go out and get in Adam Eaton, who was on an absolute tear, and he's a very valuable piece. The Nationals fans, you saw a little bit of him in center this year, not very valuable there, but at the plate, he was very good, very, very good, and he's out for the year. Did a lot of damage to his knee and his ankle, which is unfortunate, because that would have been a huge boost to this lineup. However, the line's picking up the slack. Now, Nationals got to pick up an arm. And here are the arms that are potentially available. It's June 9th, so more names are going to emerge, but these are the guys that we kind of assume are going to be on the block. Kelvin Herrera of the Royals could be one of the most coveted arms on the market today. He's got 10 saves. ERA is not that impressive. However, he's a guy who has experience. He's been involved in high-stress situations with the Royals in the postseason. A 1.26 ERA with 38 strikeouts and 28 2/3 postseason innings, so he'll get the job done. A guy, not Coda Glover, guys, not him. It would, you want someone who's been there, a guy who's stable, a guy who, you can feel confident about without sweating your brains out. Kelvin Herrera, now David Robertson. Guys, David Robertson of the White Sox. I'm a Chicago guy, a homer. I'm not really a Sox fan, but I'm very familiar with the White Sox, and David Robertson is a solid piece. If the Nationals end up kind of negotiating with the White Sox again, I understand that maybe Nationals fans aren't too happy with what they gave up for Eaton. That, trade is still up for grabs. Eaton, of course, got hurt, which sucks, but White Sox have a year and a half of control of Robertson left. That would probably be a good thing for the Nationals. Get him for another year and a half. Depends what the value is placed on Robertson's head by Rick Hahn of the White Sox. But that's a name as well to look out for. Tony Watson, left-handed pitcher from the Pirates, 10 saves, I believe, entering June. I haven't really checked his numbers since, but he's been solid, very good. Especially as a left-hander late in the game. You feel good about Watson. He's kind of emerged over the last few seasons as one of the best relievers in the game. Sean Doolittle, of course, has had experience late in the game. Obviously, he's a closer, but I'm just saying, he's still one of the best in among the active markets. Also, Addison Reed, right? He's been a closer before, and he's starting to emerge, right, again as a guy who is rebuilding his career. For a while, he was struggling, and now he's starting to get better. So in 25 appearances, a 3.28 ERA with 6 saves. That's entering June as well. Those are probably the high-profile names that the Nationals may look out for, but I got some honorable mentions as well. Mark Zepchinski of the Mariners, left-handed pitcher. Santiago Casilla, right-handed pitchers of the A's as well. Brad Hand of the Padres, he's a lefty. Joe Smith, maybe not. Pat Neshek. Right? Pat Neshek. If you want Pat Neshek, I would not advise trading for Pat Neshek to be the guy in the later innings, but he'll probably cost less than maybe the names aforementioned. However, the Nationals are in a spot that many other teams would like to be in. Yeah, their bullpen is in question. Matt Albers is carrying that load. However, they're in a spot in which they can maneuver and maybe make a move. They're in the driver's seat right now. The Nationals, one of the best teams in baseball, probably the best team in the National League. Maybe the Dodgers are in that conversation, but they haven't really emerged yet. They're filled with depth, very talented. The Cubs really haven't been in that conversation because they haven't been playing like the way that we're used to seeing them play. So right now, National League runs through Washington because they're going to run away with that division in the East unless they monumentally collapse. However, they can coast to the postseason. They can manage their arms. They can make sure, and that's another thing, they could play with Joe Ross and make sure, hey, man, if you're struggling, it's no big deal. We got a 10.5 game lead, so we're good. So the Nationals are in a good spot despite the fact that they didn't acquire Sale in the offseason, which would have absolutely propelled them to, I can't even imagine how good they'd be today. And then the loss of Adam Eaton absolutely hurts. However, they're overcoming it with the productions of even Jason Worth, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and of course Ryan Zimmerman. That lineup has been absolutely astounding, and their pitching staff, 1 through 4, fantastic. So Nationals, team to beat in the National League. Come at me if you disagree. Leave a comment and a like down below if you could, if you're on YouTube. We're going to end the baseball conversation here, and we're going to move on to the Chicago Bears. But before we do that, I want to thank you all for sticking around. If you're on blogtalkradio.com/behindthepen, YouTube, subscribe. Of course, we're on Most Valuable Podcasts. I'm going to come at you with more baseball conversations next week. Like I said, I want to follow this Addison Russell stuff, and I'm also going to follow the rest of Major League Baseball. Talked a little bit, gave a little shout out to the Astros who have been outstanding. I wanted to focus on the Nationals today because they've been quietly dominating. Maybe not so much quietly because they're the top of the league, but I haven't talked about them yet this season. So there it is. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you guys for sticking around for this segment of Behind the Pen. If you want more Most Valuable Podcast content, click on the video up above because I don't know why you wouldn't want to keep listening to our voices every day. But again, guys, thank you all for listening. We really do appreciate you.